single biggest reason why your organisation, your business is not performing today. It's not performing, you're not hiring the right people, you're not keeping the right people, you've no performance, it's not moving forwards, it's static. Worked it out today, really flipping mind-blowing thing this was today for me and the business I was working with. The answer is, it's your culture. It's having two cultures. You in your organisation today, if you're not performing, it's likely that you've got two cultures at play. Now, what am I talking about? Two cultures. Why can I have two? How can I have two cultures? Well, you do. And it's really, really simple to understand it. I've only just learned this stuff today. Listen, people think, oh, here he is, this guru again. I'm not a guru. I've just been through some business stuff. I've created some businesses. I've grown some businesses. I've learned a lot about people in the process. And culture's massive. But lots of you out there, you own a business. You've got people in it. You've got a board of directors. You've got a problem. You've got two cultures at play. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, we need to kind of do this exercise because right now, you've just got a business and it feels like something and it's got some values, but they might not be defined. But let me tell you, if I ask you to give me 3 words, 6 words, 9 words that describe your current culture, you'd be able to do that. You'd describe it, you'd define it. Let me ask you again, what about the culture of the future that's going to support your hopes, dreams and goals and aspirations of the future? What do you need it to be? 3 more words from you to define what you need that culture to be capable of doing. What is culture anyway? Well, it's just the way we do things around here. It's a set of beliefs, behaviours, values, things that people do on a daily basis to reach a desired outcome. Quality customer service, to reach our goals. It's the things that we do together that make us feel like we're part of one sort of unit. So what's going on then? What's going on with these two cultures? Well, I'll tell you. There's 2 cultures at play in your business. Believe me, there is. There's one culture type 1. There's culture type 2. Culture type 1 is where you're at today. So in your business right now, you might have a culture that tolerates poor performance. You might have a culture that is not transparent with what you do or what you say to your people. You might have a culture that is, not really bothered about quality. You might have a culture that really doesn't care for one another, for each other as members of the team. So no care. You might have a culture of just doing the bare minimum, just doing something satisfactory. Yeah, that might be today's culture. But where are we going wrong? It's because we have an aspirational culture as well. It's because we have a culture that we want to build. We have a culture that we aspire to build. We've not defined this stuff, but let me tell you, if you define this, if you're a business owner right now and you haven't defined the type of culture that you have today and the type of culture that you want to build in the future, you're missing a trick, because I'm going to hit you with the big punchline in a minute. So you may have this culture now, a culture that tolerates poor performance, that's not transparent, that doesn't focus on quality, that doesn't really care about each other, and that just does their work satisfactorily. Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? But what about the culture that you want to build? Well, you want to build a culture of ambition. You want to build a culture of belief. You want to build a culture based on trust and honesty. A performance-based culture. Yes. Performance culture. Awesome. You can see the difference, can't you? You've got a culture that does A, but you want to create a culture that does B. And guess what? When you're hiring people, when you're hiring good people, do you ever have this problem where you hire good people and they come in and they've got all the character traits, they're going to slip into this culture that you're trying to build, and they come in and they slip back into old ways. They slip into old ways. This isn't the person I employed. Or they leave, even worse still. This is the single biggest thing holding us back, because the culture that you've got today is number 1. The culture that you want is number 2. You've got 2 cultures in operation in the business. The worst thing is you don't know it. But when you hire people, they do. They come into your business and they have a choice. It's a subliminal, it's almost like a subconscious choice. They can see these 2 cultures at play. They can see the type of culture in the organisation that exists today, and they can kind of see the evolution of the culture that you need to, that business is trying to build. But typically people are lazy. Typically people want an easy life. So they come in, they've got a choice. Do I want to step up? Do I want to create hard work for myself? Do I want to really use all my energy in this business? Or do I want to choose to just do some satisfactory work? And you know what? That's what they do. You know? And the worst thing is, if they do that, it's not as bad as if they actually leave. Because it's not wasting your time, energy and effort trying to motivate these people who have become apathetic. So this is the big thing. There's two cultures at play in your business right now. And you need to understand, A, what the current culture is. B, what the aspirational culture is. You need to do the next thing, which is create a plan here that gets you from A to B. A plan of action. What are you going to do as a leader to get from A to B? What are you going to do? We need a plan. And we need to eliminate this culture ASAP. We need to call it out. We need to communicate everything about this new culture. We need to ask the people, the employees, for their input into this process. We need to ask them what the current culture is like. We need to ask them what they want the culture to be in the future. And when you've got that stuff locked in, you can kind of create your 10 commandments. The 10 cultural commandments of how this business operates, how we do business around here, how we do things around here. And they become your guiding light, almost like your values, your behavioural values of your organisation. And when you've got that single, that mono culture, when you hire people, you're hiring people for culture too. The culture that you've got and that you aspire to carry on and to carry on building and evolving. It's a great place. And you end up hiring the right people, they end up staying. They've no choice whether to settle for satisfactory or go for the high performance culture. They just do what was sold on the tin in the interview. And that's what attracts them to the business, because of the awesome culture that you're building and that you've built. Anyway, that's all from me. That's Sherpa Guidance today. A bit of a live. I've been live for a while. That was about culture. I learned that today. Really, really insightful. There are two cultures in your organisation. We need to define what they are, the current culture, the aspirational culture. We need to create a plan to move from current to aspirational. And we need to eliminate the current culture ASAP and evolve it into the new cultural environment where you've got an environment of care, of safety, of performance, of belief, of ambition, of supporting each other, caring about each other, engaging, collaborating, doing the right thing, all those things. It's everything you want, but it's not everything you're doing. So that's all from me, Andy Henderson. Just remember, always remember, you're just one step away.